Hello, Tanner. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have you today. So thank you for your time. I'm sure you will
course.
bring a lot of value to the French market. So that's
Yeah, no
very
worries.
nice.
Yeah, I'm excited about a new market too. That's cool.
Yeah. So again, sorry for my English for every people who watching and for you. But I will try my best. So Tanner, you, I think one of the most famous and successful entrepreneur I know. You had a lot of success in sales, in marketing as well. And you generate over 141 million for your own company.
We updated it just recently because I kept saying the 100 for 6, and then I was like, we got to update that number. So yeah, 141 about 8 years. So,
Wow, that's amazing. Starting from zero.
Start from zero, yeah.
Wow, that's very impressive. That's very impressive.
Yeah, first year we only did 1 million too, so we picked up ground. Like the first year only did 1 million, so it's Anyways, it doesn't really matter, but yeah. That's what we've done.
That's very amazing. So yeah, we will learn a lot about your journey today.
Yeah, sure.
We'll speak about sales because we are in sales, but also marketing because you have the two sides of that. So that's very nice. So you grow your company, but you help other entrepreneurs to grow their company now.
Yeah.
So you do like consulting stuff and like
yeah. So I mean, how I started was I didn't even know what business was. I was a complete idiot. I'm the only person in my family's ever started a business. I started an online fitness company originally because I'm still to this day into fitness, and I'd played Division I American football and all this other stuff. Yeah.
That's
so
why the biceps.
Yeah. So that's my background, and that kind of took off. And so when that took off, the first thing that happened was people started asking me for help. It's pretty natural. Like trainers were like, "Hey, like, how do you do this?" And I was like, "Dude, like, I don't really do that." And they're like, "I'll give you 10 grand." I was like, 10 grand. I was like, all right, I guess I do this.
Maybe I can do that. Yeah.
So I started doing that, and that blew up. And then I had more people outside of fitness. And then I was like, well, there's a lot of similarities in business, right? Like, obviously, different businesses, you do a few different things. But overall, it's like getting leads, sales, those things stay the same. And so I started doing that, and then it just turned on to full-on consulting. Like, now I've even branched out more where, like, I own some tech companies now. I do private equity. Okay. One of my portfolio companies, he has hedge fund experience, so we're going to roll that out. He obviously, I don't understand how, I shouldn't say, I don't understand how it works, but like his investing philosophy, that's what we're going to do. But I just got to drive leads and sales mostly. So I do some different stuff now. But in short, yeah, it's like it just naturally progressed. And then I also realized I just love business a lot more than fitness. Like, I love fitness, but it's like, dude, like, stop eating and move. Like, it's just not that complex. Business, there's a lot more complexity and a lot more things that can change. And I just feel the people in business, it's a little bit higher level than people who are like trying to lose weight. Yeah. Nothing against it, but I just knew I didn't want to stay in fitness the rest of my life.
Okay, that's so good. And for the people maybe who don't know you, what are the most important stage of your story, of your journey that made you from zero to made 10K a month, 100, 1 million? I mean, what happened?
So like if you're looking at like the most pivotal, probably the most pivotal was I wanted to play in the NFL. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's like National Football League. So I don't know what in Europe is like the biggest soccer league or football. Like, it's football over there, but it's like that's the biggest thing in America,
it's
right?
like Champions League in
football. It's very big. And at 22, I had a bunch of injuries. So you guys can't see right now, but I've had a bunch of shoulder surgeries, ankle surgeries. I've had like nose, tonsils, fingers. But everything. And I knew that wasn't going to work. So I said, well, like I had an engineering degree, or I was going to have an engineering degree, petroleum engineer. But I was like, I don't know. That's not what I want to do with my life. So probably the most pivotal thing is I dropped out of school with a year left because I had a family friend or a mentor who basically said, hey, I'll teach you everything I know about business if you go back to church. He was like friends with my dad, and my dad's very religious. And I was like, okay. I didn't really keep my side of the bargain, so I feel bad about that. But he taught me like all about funnels and opt-in pages and merchant accounts, like all this shit that at the time really didn't make me any money, but later down the road it did because that's operational part of a business, right? Yeah. And so once I learned about high ticket sales, I was like, oh, people will pay this much because I was selling a $47 fitness program and I was making nothing, right? Like, I guess you like lunch, right? If that. And so I remember someone was like, hey, so this was also pivotal. So he taught me that, and then someone came to me and said, hey, you should charge $1,500. I was like, bro, how am I going to charge $1,500? I can't even get this person to buy for 47. He's like, trust me, just like message your leads and do it. I was like, all right, whatever. This isn't going to work. And I remember I did that in the first week. I made 10 grand. I was like, oh shit. I was like, holy crap, this actually works. And then I actually had money to like reinvest back in the business. So I'd say those two things were the most pivotal because if I hadn't met him, and then I hadn't learned about high ticket, I never would be where I am now. There's a lot of stuff I did that obviously helped me, like, you know, being a college athlete really helped me.
Yeah.
Having good grades helped me. Being a petroleum engineer helped me. Doing door-to-door sales helped me. But I would say that was the kind of pivotal moment of my life. And I knew it was changing. So, like, it was cool, too, because when it was happening, I just remember thinking, like, oh, my gosh, it's, like, actually happening. Like, I just remember being so excited. Yeah. I made a sale. It was funny. Like, I made one of the sales in the car I was driving. And I had to drive, so I was like, fuck it, I'm going to take it. And I closed the guy for like $2,000. And like, I take the payment, and as soon as it hangs up, I was like, yeah, motherfucker, like, yeah. Like, and you know, cause it was like my life was changing, right? I remember I was texting my parents like, yo, you wouldn't believe that. I'm like, this guy just paid me like $2,000. And I was making $3,000 a month USD. Wow, so it was like, so I'm like, what the fuck is life, right? So those are probably the biggest pivotal points. And yeah, it was fun. It was fun when it happened, dude. To this day, making probably that $10,000 and then my first $100,000 was like more memorable than making, you know, the millions I made now. It's like, it doesn't even compare.
I think we all do the same on the first sales, you know. For me, I was celebrating with I was sleeping on the floor, you know, and I was like, yeah, let's go. So yeah,
it's the humble beginning. Well, and also it's like, you know, it's the humble beginnings that mean the most, because, you know, if you go from 3,000 to 100,000, that's a 30x, right? You're not going to 30x like a million, right? Or it's a lot harder. So to this day, and it changes your life a lot more, right? Like once you have a lot of money, making more doesn't really matter. But when you don't have any money, it's painful, right? It's really hard. Yeah.
I saw your video when you're talking about your Lamborghini.
That
was your dream, and that was more painful and boring to have it. So that's
I remember even from a young age, I was a little kid, I just wanted a red Lamborghini.
But it's amazing, the Lamborghini. I saw it.
Yeah, no, dude.
Nice.
It to this day, I still wish I hadn't gotten rid of it. I mean, I could just get another one, but I was moving to Puerto Rico, et cetera. But it was I customized the whole thing, and I don't know. When I see people get supercars and they just get like a boring color, I'm like, bro, what's the point? I'm like, don't you want it to stand out? So I customized that entire thing, and I was really proud of it. To this day, I still think it's the sickest Lamborghini I've ever seen. But I'm super biased, obviously. So
was it your goal when you start business to have money Lamborghini, or did you have other goal?
Dude, I'll be honest. You know, it sounds good on paper to tell people like, yeah, I want to help people, and I have a big heart, and I just didn't want to be fucking poor. I just didn't want to be poor. I just want to make a shit ton of money so I could do what I want. I didn't grow up like super poor, but you have to understand, my dad was a teacher. My mom stayed at home. I was one of 7 kids. So money was pretty tight. Yeah. And then my dad actually made more money from odd jobs. He had to, because like, dude, as a teacher, he was making what? Like, I want to go back like when I was a kid. Maybe he was making like $70,000 a year, if that. And we have that many kids. And so I think he would make more money from his odd jobs. He would do power washing, and he'd mow people's lawns, and we'd clean buildings. And like, so I remember as a young kid, like I would be like 7 years old, like going to people's houses cleaning, and some of the kids would know me and be embarrassing. But I was like, it is what it is. My parents were like, this is what you got to do. So it was really just not to be poor, bro. Because like, I just hate going places. And I remember I told my mom, I'm going to be so rich one day, I'm going to get meal prep, or I'm going to have a private chef. You know, it was like stupid shit like that, but it wasn't a reality for me. You know, it was just, she would go buy everything in bulk, and she'd make like, you know, pasta and like sandwiches and just really cheap shit, right? And I just hated it, bro. So.
And what was the most important internal shift you had to do to yourself to become the guy you're today?
Internal shift?
Yeah, internal shift.
Yeah, so I still remember it to this day. So I was 22 when I dropped out of school, and to that point I'd pretty much been the man, like, meaning I wasn't popular as a kid, but then once I started playing sports and I really excelled, you know, you're more popular, and I had good grades, and I did pretty good with the girls. And then I remember at 22 I went from like hero to zero, like, and that's hard for a lot of athletes, because you know, when sports ends, like it's pretty much been your whole identity, right?
Of course.
So I think the biggest shift was at 22. I remember I started my business. People are like, oh, you're young, you got time. Like 23. You're young, you got time. 24. You got time. Like you're like, they're not saying it so much. And then 25, they're like, oh, okay. It's like they don't say anymore.
Don't say me that. I have 25 for like a few months, so don't say that.
Yeah. How old are you right now?
25.
Yeah, so like you do have time. It's just, but like meaning I hadn't even figured it out yet, right? So like you're way farther ahead of me than I was. So you know, when I turned 25, I was like, if I don't figure this out this year, I'm screwed. And so I remember thinking, I just remember telling myself, I was like, I'd rather be homeless than not be successful. I'm going to do whatever it fucking takes this year. Because the years before, like, I wouldn't really do that. I was like, I said I would, but I wouldn't. So I think the biggest internal shift was that year. I was like, I will do whatever it fucking takes to win. I don't care if I'm homeless. And so that internal shift changes how you act.
Yeah.
Right? Because people, it's not like what you think doesn't. What you think matters only because it helps you take action. Because action is still key. Action is what gets results. But a lot of times people don't take action because they have false beliefs or wrong beliefs.
Yeah.
So my belief before that was I have time.
Yeah. That's
25, it was like, it's do or fucking die, dude. It's like, it's this year or it's never going to happen. You got to do whatever it takes. So like, I remember the first program I paid for, I had $2,000 in my bank account. He's like, it's $5,000. I was like, oh, I'm like, this is all I have. I still paid it because I said, what other choice do I have? Like, what I'm doing isn't working.
Yeah.
So I think that was a big internal shift where it went from, I'll see how this is, and then it was like, I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people need to get there because a lot of people, they don't think that way, right?
That's the thing. I train a lot of closers, and I say the big difference between I want that and I have to do it. I have to have it. That's a huge difference. Yeah. That's the difference you had. Yeah. And that's a question I wanted to ask you personally. So what's the difference did you see between you or somebody making like 50, 100K a month and somebody who make 500, 1 million a month?
It's really two things. Number one is lead flow. I mean, like, end of the day, so I make this joke to guys all the time. I'm like, okay, dude, look, who's going to get more girls? Guy who talks to 100 girls, guy who talks to 10 girls. Like 100. It's like, even if he is more idiotic, I was about to say something else I shouldn't have said. If he's more idiotic, it's like, you just, because of the volume, you're going to make it happen. So number one is lead flow. And then number two, really after that, is like team building. So, and it's really simple. Like, people really overthink leadership. I'm like, it's really simple. Leadership is just becoming the person that other people want to become, right? So when you think of someone who's the leader, it's like, why is he the leader? Because people look at him and they like look at him respectfully or in awe, right? So it's like, who do you respect? More discipline, in better shape, makes more money, has a good relationship with his wife, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So I just have always been really good at, I think number one was I was always like really good at lead generation and making that happen because I learned it. And I was like, hey, if I get leads, I'll make sales. If I make sales, I make money. So I got really good at that skill. And then number two was I just got really good at hiring. I think one of my strengths is I'm just really good at reading people. I think that comes from a sales background. It also comes from my father. My father was very religious. Again, I'm not like crazy religious, but I even had like, they give you something when you're younger. I'm not going to say what the blessing is, but they give you like this blessing. One of the things it said is you're going to have really good intuition. You're going to know what people are thinking without them telling you. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's really helped me. And so when you hire good people, that really helps because when you're doing $500,000 a month or $1 million or whatever, you can't do 80% of the work. So that literally means your business is going to fall on the people you have in charge. Well, the people you have in charge is who are hired. Most entrepreneurs that get stuck, dude, like, obviously they're stuck at zero. The next level is 100K because at 100K, you can basically run the whole business yourself. You have like 3 or 4 employees. You can have your hands in every cookie jar. When you're doing $500,000, $1 million a month, you are completely fucked if you have a bad team. And a lot of people, they're so worried about being well liked that they don't do what it takes to build a good team. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just like, look, if you like me, that's a bonus, but I don't care if you like me. It's like, this is what it takes. This is what I'm going to get. I'm not rude to people, but I'm just like, this is what it takes. This is what you're going to have to do. If you can't do it, you got to get the fuck out. I mean, it's that simple. And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be rude. It's like, do you want to date a girl you don't like? I don't even understand why people say that. It's like, well, I don't want to hurt her feelings. I'm like, but you're gonna hurt her by not telling her, aren't you? So I'm like, just tell them. I don't. So it's never been an issue for me, and maybe it's because door-to-door sales, but I just don't care. Like, I don't want to be rude on purpose, but I'm just like, bro, just tell me the truth. You know?
And I think that's the biggest leverage I had also, and I have. It's to have the ability to create leaders that will create leaders. And to because you cannot build everything.
You just have to
together.
have high standards. So I always use dating analogies because people get it, but it's like if you want a wife and you're like, she needs to be nice and she needs to be smart and she needs to be caring and bubbly and blah, you have all this shit. You wouldn't be like, there's some things maybe you would give up, right? But in short, you're usually like, you're gonna wait till you find the girl, right?
Yeah, true.
So people in business are like, I'm not gonna wait. I'm just gonna get the. I'm like, bro, like, why? He's not good enough. It's gonna be a problem. And then they start thinking they're a bad leader. They're like, I can't get this guy to get results. It's like, he was never gonna get results. He's a 3. So if you hire a 3 and you train your ass off and you get him to a 7, he still is a 7. He's still not that good.
And you lose a lot of time.
Right. And then you're putting all this time and energy. Why don't you just find a fucking 7, do a little bit of work, and now he's a 10. And then you're just like, all right, go. Because at the end of the day, like, you're paying money. So if you're paying money to someone to get time back, and then you still have to pay them and give time, I'm like, you're basically paying to babysit someone. I'm like, that's the worst case scenario. I just think a lot of people are uncomfortable having uncomfortable conversations. I just don't care, because what happens is if you don't have the conversation, it just goes down the road. People think that it disappears. I'm like, no, it just gets pushed later. It's like an objection.
Yeah.
Oh, they said they don't have money, I'm just not going to mention it. It's like, you realize that they're going to bring it up again at the end of the call, right? Yeah. It's like, so as soon as I know there's a problem, I'll just address it. And that's been a big strength for me that I think a lot of entrepreneurs just really are bad at.
That's so true. I don't know if you know Will Inkson.
Who, say it again?
Will Inkson.
No.
He was working with 7-Level and everything. But
with like Jeremy Minor and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so does he work there?
He was working.
He was, okay, so I don't know
now
him personally.
he was working with sales snipers and everything.
Okay.
Very nice guy. One of my own mentor. And,
awesome.
And I say to him, like, what's the one quality you see in every successful person? And he said the ability to have a difficult conversation.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
and high standards.
Because the thing that drives, I mean, again, I just think it's so silly, because like, if the business is not performing, that's not a fun feeling. So it's like, would you rather your business doesn't perform, or would you rather just go talk to the person and get it over with? Yeah. And it's uncomfortable, sure, but I've just never had an issue. Like, I'll get people on a call. I'm like, hey man, so just to let you know, this is gonna be kind of uncomfortable. I gotta like tell you, okay? And then I'll just go. I don't know. I think it's a big weakness for a lot of people. I don't mind at all.
True. Speaking about weakness, what's the worst advice someone give to you? Maybe in business, maybe in life. I'm sure there is a lot. So if you had to
so many, it's like it'd be less if you just asked me what's the good advice. I think the worst piece of advice, it's actually funny because it relates to this, is Tanner, your expectations are too high. So when I was in the beginning of business, one thing I did notice is I was a little bit too harsh. So you can be
too harsh on yourself,
not just people.
People, okay.
For example, I can get the point across to you without being a dick. I don't need to be like, dude, you're so fucking horrible. What the fuck? I don't need to say that. But instead, I can be like, hey, bro, so look, I know you're trying really hard, but like, it's just not good enough. So one or two things need to happen. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, you can get the same point across without being rude. I was a little bit too harsh. So I remember my COO was saying, hey, your standards are too high. Like, people are not like you, bro. Like, you're one of a million. It's like, you're a psycho. You want to push all this stuff. You can't expect that. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, you're probably right. And so what happened is we started hiring people on the team that like really weren't a culture fit. Like, and when I say culture fit, people use that as a buzzword. Culture to me is, do they think the way you think? Not on everything. Like, I don't need you to be like, I work out for 2 to 3 hours a day. Most people are not going to do that. I'm not like, oh, you don't want to work for 2 3. It's not that. Yeah. It's like, do you want to do your best? Do you take pride in doing a good job? Do you do the work until it's done, or do you take off because it's 5 o'clock? Do you communicate effectively? Like, I need people who like agree and have those qualities. So we started hiring people who like weren't good communicators, didn't give a shit, et cetera. And it started hurting my business. So then I came back the other way. And I think now is the best balance, because like I'm a lot more mellowed down, but I still hold the line. I say, look, this is the standard. If you can't hit the standard, fuck off. Like, and I just tell people, I'll even say on interviews, I'll say, look, this is the requirements. If you can't do that, you're not going to want to work here. I'm going to fire you. I tell that to people because I'm like, why? Like, people, they're like, I don't want to scare them off. I'm like, dude, you want to scare people off 100%. When you date a girl, I actually tell people, like, tell her all the worst things about you up front.
Yeah. So
because then two things will happen. Number one, she might be like, oh, that's not that bad. Or number two, if you tell her that and then like she goes into the situation, that's all she sees, she's like, oh, like I can do it. But if you like hide it and you're like, I'm the best guy since sliced bread, as soon as they see red flags, they're out. Yeah. So I just don't understand why people don't do that. But that was the worst piece of advice I ever got, because it made me build my team improperly for a while. And it wasn't that I didn't know. I would get on interviews and I'd be like, yeah, it's okay. I'll just overlook it. It's fine. He's a little different, no problem. It is a fucking problem. It is a fucking problem. Completely. And to be honest, like, the reason I got to where I'm at is because I make the right choices. So when someone says it doesn't matter and all this other shit, I'm like, dude, that's why you're where you're at and I'm where I'm at. It's like, it does matter. So I just trusted my gut more. But yeah, that was probably the worst piece of advice because I believed it for a little bit. And it was bad
but I
advice.
think it comes to leadership. You say it's and
It's not even leader. Like, dude, it
I mean,
is and it
don't
isn't. It really comes to like picking the right players. So like you mentioned the Premier League, I think, in the
Champions
soccer.
League.
Okay,
Yeah.
so when you have the draft, you guys have a draft, right? You pick, who gets picked first? The best player or the hardest worker? It's like the best fucking player. Why? Because the best player is going to be able to do what the coach says. Why? Because he's better.
Yeah.
So to me, it's not even being a good leader. Yeah, to a degree. It's like you need to be someone other people want to be like and follow, or they're not going to. But if you pick the wrong person, it doesn't matter. It's like if you want a baby and you date a man, it's like it doesn't matter how much he wants to give you a baby, it ain't happening, right? Yeah. So I think people do that a lot. And so I'm of the mindset, yes, be a good leader, but pick the right fucking person. Because if you're a great leader and you pick a bench warmer, it's like he's not going to be able to score. He's just not good enough, right? And so a lot of people, they try to take a turd and polish it. I'm like, it's still a turd. Yeah. Like, it's still a turd, bro. It's like it's still a turd. So I just used to overlook that a lot because I was like, if I'm a great leader and I can make anybody good. No, dude. It's like I can make them better, but better is still probably not good enough. Like if I, try to get you as good as LeBron James in basketball, it's like LeBron James is better than you. It is what it is. No matter how hard you train, you're never going to be LeBron James. So instead of picking someone and trying to do that, it's like just get LeBron James and then it's a lot easier. And then on top of that, you spend less time, it's less effort, it's less energy, it's less headache. That's the whole point of a business, is it not? Like really the CEO's job is to assemble the Avengers. Like that's how you need to think of it. It's like if you assemble the right Avengers, you're gonna freaking take over the world. If you assemble the wrong Avengers and they have like one wing and one hand and one eyeball, it's like it's not gonna work. So that was the worst piece of advice. Yeah,
that's very good. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah.
At the opposite, what's maybe the best advice you've ever received?
Best advice is probably from my dad. It actually changed this trajectory of my life. I've had a lot of moments, like I probably say like 4 or 5 moments, but this one particularly, it really got the point across. There's two times, so I'll share 2 quick examples. There was one where I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, can I go to the movies? I was like 14, and he's like, he says, well, do you have a job? And I'm like, he knows this, right? So I'm like, no. And he goes, oh, I guess you can't go. And that really taught me in that moment. He was basically saying, like, I don't give a fuck how old you are. It's like, you got to, like, get your own money and make it happen. It's like, I'm not just going to give you a handout. So that really gave me that mindset to go out and to produce. I grew up in, I would say, maybe a well-off neighborhood. Most of the parents, though, I only had a couple kids. So I like to think the reason we were there is my dad worked an extra job and there were 7 kids. So, like, there wasn't as much to go around, right?
Yeah.
So I was around kind of like maybe a little bit more wealth, but we didn't have it to the same degree. And a lot of these parents would just give their kids cars, money, etc. I'm like, none of those kids have gone on, in my opinion, to do anything substantial. And why? It's because every time they had a problem, guess who bails them out? Their parents. My parents didn't do that. So that was lesson number 1. Then lesson number 2 was I remember I was playing, American football, Pee Wee League, and running sprints at the end of practice. And my dad shows up to pick me up, and he's watching. He never usually shows up. And so at the end of practice, he grabs me, he's just like walking with me. He's like, hey, son, like you weren't running that fast. Why weren't you running fast? And I was like, I was super tired. I thought that was a good answer. And he's like, so?
So what?
And I was like in that moment, like it sounds weird, but in that moment I was like, wait, like, so like, does that not matter? And he's like, no.
Wow.
And so I'm not shitting you, but I went from getting last place in practice. The next practice, I got second place or first place every single race because I was like, so I run fast no matter what. So my dad gave me, like, there were a couple things my dad said inadvertently that as a kid really imprinted on my brain. And then it took off into adulthood and has really made a big difference. Cause like, it doesn't matter if you want to do it or not, always do it. Right. And then the first one was like, yeah, you got to go make it happen. Like no one's going to give you a handout. So as a kid, I kind of hated him for it at the time. I remember being like, oh my gosh, dude, you're so hard on me. I got to do all this shit. Da, 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 da. As soon as I became an adult, it was like I took over the world and I had the girth and like the fortitude to handle it because a lot of the stuff had been difficult for me. But if he had just made it easy for me, the sad part, dude, is the easier you make your kids' life, I think the harder adulthood they have. So I think when I have kids, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to like have them like go get their own food and like shit like that. But it's like outside of the normal necessities, it's like I don't think I'm going to give them much because it just teaches them that like life's a handout and all this other stuff. It's like, I'm not going to be here forever, dude. Like I can't protect you your entire life. So probably those two things was the best piece of advice. And it was like inadvertent was the funny part. Like my dad was, probably didn't even know it had such an impact, but it really did.
Yeah. For what I see, that teach you responsibility.
Oh yeah, bro.
That's so important.
I mean, like I just have friends who like have wealthy parents, and like when they got in trouble, they're like, here's some money. And so all that does as a kid, it's like when I get in trouble, dad bails me out. My dad was like, look, son, I don't make a lot of money. So like, good luck. He's like, you want to go to college, get a scholarship. You want a car, go buy one. He's like, you want to go to the movies, get your own money. It just wasn't an option for us. It wasn't even like he was trying to be mean. It was just like, it wasn't an option. Like we were budgeting. I mean, we're paycheck to paycheck type deal. And on top of that, my dad's been pretty smart with his money. So he actually retired like recently, like last year, 60 years old.
Okay.
Like imagine a teacher's salary with 7 kids in the United States of America. I mean, it's not an easy thing to pull off. So I have a lot of respect for my dad because he's like, he did whatever it took, right? And he did odd jobs and he did embarrassing things. I remember like we would go power wash some of my friends' houses and like it's probably super embarrassing for him. But he's like, this is what I got to do to survive,
That's I saw a reel for you on Instagram. I love it because you said a lot of people ask me what I did to get the result I have today, and you say I just did what I had to do. It's like it's simple. It's not easy,
really
but
is,
it's simple.
Bro.
Yeah.
It really is. Like you want to get in a super good shape, stop eating, move. You want to make more money, pay everybody. You gotta people just don't want to do it. And
why is it that difficult? Because now you have the results, so it's clear for you. It's simple.
Yeah.
But if I speak to the Tanner 22, 23 years old, what changed? Because it's simple.
Well, I just think I bought into other people's excuses. So like when I was younger, like I was 22, I was like, they're like, well, someone's like, you should pay a coach. I was like, well, I don't have any money, so I can't. Like it was just like, well, I can't. I don't have any money. The Tanner now is like, who gives a fuck? Like, go find it. But the 22-year-old Tanner's like, like, oh, you don't have money, you can't buy it. So it was just the mindset shift was complete. It wasn't like I'll do whatever it takes. It's like, well, I don't have money, so I can't get it type deal. And I think a lot of people go through life like that, where they go, well, I can't get help because I can't afford it, or like, I'm busy, or it'll be better in November, and I'm like, none of that shit matters at all. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's because you can either have the life you want or you can have your excuses. You can't have both. I think most people, as they wise up, they get to a point where they get tired of it. They're just like, I would rather be successful than like live over here my excuses. Or maybe some people don't recognize it, but it's just at the time, it's not like I had bad intentions. I was just like naive. I was young and I didn't grow up with a ton of money. And, I saw my parents' budget. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't have the money. I can't spend it. Like now what I'll tell a young guy is like, dude, you're a grown ass man. Be resourceful. Move home, sell your shit, get rid of your car, move in with a friend, go to a homeless shelter. It's like there's plenty of options. And the thing is, people just play up in their head. It's a big deal. They think, well, someone's going to judge me and they're going to look at me and what are they saying? Nobody gives a fuck about you, dude. Nobody cares. Like people think like when I hit $1 million in a month, I thought I was a fucking man. I had a party and this guy came over. And he's like, why are you having this party? I was like, I had $1 million in a month, And he's like, cool. And he did not care at all. And I remember in that moment thinking, this guy doesn't even give a fuck that I am making more money than 99.999% of people. I'm like, are you kidding me? And it was like, it reinforced that statement. So if they don't care when you're winning, do you think they really care when you're losing? It's just all played up in your head.
Wow, that's very nice.
People play it up in their head. They're like, oh, well, if, I have to have a car and a house and a Rolex and all shit. It's like, bro, nobody gives a fuck. They're not even thinking about you. Everyone is so selfish. The people who say I'm the best listener, you know what why they say that? Because I just listen to them talk. Like, wow, you're great at talking. I just sat there and listened to you talk for an hour yapping. People just care about themselves. They don't give a fuck about you. So completely. I just think the problem is people are so worried about what other people think. It's like they're not even thinking about you. You think they are. They don't even care. So once you get over that and once you realize that, it's like you just have to have no shame. Like, bro, I got no shame. I don't give a fuck. I'll do anything. Like pretty much anything. Like there's obviously there's like a couple like weird things like I won't do, but anything that's legal and not super like out there, I'll do it. Why not? And I'll still do it now, even as a CEO now. Like if something happens in my company and I gotta step in, even if it's like cleaning the toilets, I don't give a fuck. I'll clean that shit. Who cares? It's just people's ego and pride gets in the way.
Wow.
And it's like, why? Like, who cares? So
That's very nice. That's very nice. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you bet.
And did you feel, because you had like a very quick career, you know, a very quick result, did you feel at what time you were stagnating financially? And how did you bounce back to be able to reach the next level?
Did I feel like I was stagnating?
Yeah, stagnating.
I mean, so really the first like 3 years of business, I didn't make any money.
Yeah.
I just don't usually count that because like when people say, how much money have you made? It's like, I really made it in the last 8 years. So like once I started making money, it never stopped. It's just like, there were 3 years where I didn't really make any. So like, I guess to answer your question, like the first 3 years, like I almost quit like 6 times. Like I remember I called my mentor and I was like, yo, I'm going to quit. I'm going to go back to school. And he would just talk me off the ledge. He's like, don't quit. Don't quit.
Wow.
And I was like, and then like 3 more months would go by and I'd call him again, 3 more months. And I was just like, bro, like this is so stupid. Like, and the reason it was stupid is like, I'm living in a shitty place. I have a shitty car. I'm not dating anyone. I'm working 8 hours a day in a normal job. Then I go work on my business. The business is producing $0. So I was like, I could literally, you know, like watch Netflix and, you know, porn and get more results. I was like, this is like, that's how I felt. I was like, this is so stupid. I could be a degenerate and get more results. So that was tough. But then once I finally figured it out and started making money, it just exploded. And then, you know, I mean, obviously there's a lot of stuff before that. People look at that and it's like door-to-door sales, Division I football. I learned all the operational stuff. I was trying and trying and trying. I didn't give up. I didn't quit. Like there's all these things in there. But once I started making money, I blew up. So there wasn't a lot of stagnation after that. It was just in the first 3 years, it was tough because like, I mean, imagine you trying to work out for 3 years and you literally look the same after 3 years. That's how I felt, bro. And 3 years doesn't sound like a long time when you say it, but when you're in it, holy shit, dude, it's the worst.
Yeah, that's very funny because when I saw your story, for me it was the same. 3 years.
When did you start making money? Like
I started making money at 23.
So like 2 years ago. So 20 to 23, like nothing.
19 to 23, nothing.
Fuck. Dude.
Nothing, man. And I was working like 10 hours a day, good mindset, everything just
on the business or just a job plus the business?
No, business. And I was like, I having a job when I didn't have money. I sleep to my grandparent garage and everything.
Well, what do you think the difference was? So like when you started making money from what was it? Because for me, I finally hired a coach and I got some direction and then I implemented, right? So what was it for you? I
think it's the difference between knowing something and knowing how to do it properly.
It's the execution.
Exactly, because I knew I had to focus on one thing. I knew I had to be the best at it. I knew I had to meet mentor, but that doesn't mean I was doing it right. So, and when I start doing, okay, I'm going to sales. I'm going to be one of the best in France. Well,
the cool thing about, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there, like at least my perception, I could be completely wrong, but like France, there's not as many people maybe trying to do the same thing. So I feel like if you're the best, you can like crush because there's like not a lot of competition, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
The French market. Sales are very, very down.
And do you sell in French?
I sold, yeah.
That's awesome,
I sold multiple millions in closing. I was one of the best in everything, and after I become sales coach.
Good for you, bro.
And everything.
Good for you.
I still have a lot to learn to reach your level, but it's on my way. But yeah, I completely understand what you say. So one of the best advice I received, it's not someone told me, but someone I read. I don't know if you know the poem Roll the Dice by Charles Bukowski, something like that. The first sentence is, if you want to do something different, go all the way.
Yeah.
If not, do not even start.
Yeah.
And I was prepared and I was ready to lose a lot of time, to lose a lot of money, to lose a lot of love story with girls, to lose a lot of moments, with my family to succeed. I signed. I was ready for that.
I mean, bro, the fact that you went 4 years and you didn't quit, like 99% of people would have quit. Like I even said this to people. Like when I got into business consulting, I didn't really want to because the connotation, it's like scammy. Like I was like, fuck that shit. I don't want to get into it. But I remember I spent about 60 G's on coaches before I like got ads to work. And ads have obviously made me very successful. And so I went, okay, how many people would spend 60 G's before they give up? Probably fucking nobody. So when I started getting asked for help, I was like, like, this is probably some of these people's last chance. Like, it's like, this is their last chance. So I'm like, if I can help them get there, I want to do that, right? Because I know what it feels like. I really genuinely know what it feels like. But for you to go 4 years and not quit, that's a testament to you. Because like I say to people all the time, it's like, if you don't quit, you can't lose. You will eventually figure it out. Or let's say you don't figure it out. Let's say you went your whole life and you couldn't figure it out. Dude, when you died, you'd still be so proud of yourself. I know that's hard to believe right now.
Completely.
But you don't care about the results. You just care about the effort. Like, that's all that matters in life is effort. It's like, how hard did you go, right? If you get a divorce, but you know you treated that woman perfect, why the fuck would you care? Sure, you'd be hurt, but the reason people feel bad is like, I cheated on her, I hit her, I didn't, like, that type of stuff, right? So to me, the fact that you did that should give you a lot of pride, because most people would have quit. And now look at you now. It's like, now you're already making progress and you're still a young gun. So like at 25, bro, like, you're so far ahead of where I was. I was literally starting at 25. So whatever results you've gotten already, you're already way ahead of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the cool part is, if you had quit though, your life would be very different than it is now. But a lot of people don't think about that. They're like, oh, it costs $5,000 or it's really hard. Or I'm like, your life would be so different. Like, you'd have a fucking probably normal job and you'd be making like, I don't know, like $50,000 or $60,000, whatever the fuck. And you wouldn't be where you're at, right? And that always scares me. Like the thing that scares me is
me the most.
If I don't do my best, I may end up like, I won't know where I'm going to end up. So it's like, I'm just going to do my best, because then I know wherever I end up is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, completely understand. Completely. If we go more into a business, so you do a lot of consulting. What is the most bottleneck you see in every company that are doing okay, but they want to be excellent?
I mean, it's going to sound so boring, bro, but it's usually leads or sales, right? I mean, because if you think about a business, it's really simple. How does the business grow? You make more sales. How do you make more sales? You get more calls, right? Usually, right? How do you get more calls? You get more leads. Okay. So the bottleneck is always really simple. It's like, okay, well, how are you getting leads? Well, I post content. Or I get a referral. I'm like, okay, well, is that consistent? No, it's not consistent. Okay. So you're trying to build a business on something that's not consistent. Does that make any sense? So the number one thing usually is like getting the lead flow dialed in. Once the lead flow's dialed in, it's the sales part. Because like, here's the thing. The fulfillment actually doesn't matter in the beginning, meaning you can make a lot of money just selling people dog shit. Now, over time, is that going to hurt you in your reputation? Sure. Do I think it's okay? No, I don't. But if you're really good at fulfillment, but you can't make a sell, you're dead. So, you know, it's always getting people's lead flow in check and then fixing their sales. Because, like, some people are horrendous at sales. I mean, the stuff they say on the calls, I'm like, dude, like, it's like some of the pickup lines I've heard in Dubai. I mean, it's just terrible, right? I'm out with my girl, and like some of these guys' pickup lines, I'm like, dude, good luck. I mean, that wouldn't work even if I wasn't here. And then the other part is just a lead flow, you know, and that's just like, end of the day, like, businesses cannot grow without sales, and they can't grow without leads. And so people just, it's a little mind boggling to me, but I'm like, well, like, if you want to triple your income, you got to make more sales. So like, how are you going to do it? Well, I just post content. I'm like, okay, so unless you go viral, you're screwed, right? So I'm not even against viral or like organic content. I'm a big fan if it works, but the problem is if you don't go viral, you don't get a lot of eyeballs. You got to run ads. And people like will fight that, or they have a coach who's like, yeah, just post content and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, unless you get a lot of eyeballs, you're not going to make sales because you don't have more leads. So it's really working with people on that. And then obviously, like, if you're going to run ads, it's like how to set them up, like what copy to use, this and that, just the particulars. You know, I sold door-to-door sales and I did high ticket sales. So that really helped me. So I have like a 7-step framework. So it's usually like taking the business owner and like building out that framework for them. So it actually works, right?
Yeah, that's very interesting, because when I listen to you, the thing I like the most is like you get things easy. You know, I mean, it's not that difficult to run a good business.
I mean, look, here's the thing is people who make stuff seem difficult is a sign of unintelligence. Intelligent people can take a complex subject and make it simple. So even like a sales call, sales calls they come with a lot of different ways, but I'm like, look, this is the structure of the call. These are the 4 objections you're going to get. It's the same shit every time. And then all they have to do is like follow the bullet points. Like people have to know how to think, right? You can't just tell people word for word what to say, because like every call is different. But if I can give someone a structure and they can learn the structure, it's simple, right? I just think a lot of people want to make stuff sound complex so they sound smart. It's like
Yeah, true. That's so true.
but it's dumb.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
if you're so smart, then make it fucking easy for me, bro.
Yeah,
right?
that's
And like that's what I had to learn early on is like you're not making the product for the smartest person. You're making it for the dumbest person. The biggest companies in the world, you know why they're the biggest companies? Because they can get results for idiots. Think about that. You know why like this space is actually hard to scale past like, 1 to 2 million a month? That's usually where the top guys are at. Why? Because you can't get an idiot the result.
Yeah.
No matter how much I try to coach you, if you're bad at basketball, you're just bad. I can't shoot it for you.
Yeah,
I can't run for you. So if you look at a lot of the biggest companies in the world right now, let's just say ChatGPT, for an example, or Uber Eats or Kareem in Dubai,
true.
right? Like, why are they good? Because if you're an idiot and you order a pizza, it still shows up. But in consulting or businesses, if I tell you how to do sales call and you fuck it up, it's like, well, you're not going to get results. And then people complain. They're like, oh, this is bad. Or whatever. It's like, you're just terrible.
So how do you do to find good clients that have the abilities to?
Yeah, well,
run?
So my mindset is this. Like, so I've done consulting for 8 years. My first mindset is like, this is not going to be $1 billion business. Why? Because it's not built for it. Most billionaires are in tech, private equity, or hedge funds. Why? Because if you think about hedge funds, if you're an idiot, like, so again, we'll just use the word idiot for the dumb person. Dumb person, smart person. If you invest in a hedge fund and they put it in here and you both get 10%, it's like this, they both can get the same result. Yeah. Tech, if I use Uber Eats or Kareem and you do, we get the same order.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't matter. If I do private equity, the only reason that works is like you're basically cutting out the bad business owners. Right?
Yeah.
So you kind of like Alex Hormozy or what I do. It's like you're picking the best businesses and then they'll scale because they're good businesses, right? So you cut out the bad businesses. In consulting, you can't really do that per se unless you just turn those clients away. So you could turn those clients away, but then also when you have staff and operational costs, you run ads, like I can't turn every client away because then I'll go out of business. So I just know it is what it is. It's a cash flow business where you can learn skills. And I can use it as like an incubator for some of my clients to turn into portfolio companies. But like people will be like, well, I'll just make them get results. How are you going to do that? You're going to run the business for them? Yeah. Well, then at that point, you might as well just take 100% of their money. Like it's not even worth it for me. Like if a business is at 10 grand a month, I'm like, dude, I have to run 100 of your businesses for this to even make sense. It doesn't even make sense. So I don't think it's so much about finding the right client. It's more about being in the right boat. Warren Buffett talks about this where he says, it's not about how hard you row. It's about what vehicle you're in. I didn't understand that until I want to say year 5 of business. And I was stuck at 2 million a month and I couldn't pass it. And I was like, why can't I get past this? And then I started to realize, I was like, oh, because I can't force results on everyone. And then it got to a point where the operational cost and the attrition of the clients was so high that like I couldn't pass that barrier. It's as simple as that. Yeah. But if I was selling, ChatGPT, think about it. It's like $20 a month. And it's like, hi, I'm an idiot. Give me something, to say. And it does it, right? And so I know that sounds kind of silly, but I found that out when I got stuck at 2 million a month. I couldn't pass it. And then I really got down on myself. I was like, why can't I pass it? I started to realize nobody is a billionaire in this industry. Like, it's like, you're not going to become a billionaire from like an info space product. I saw Alex Hormozy leave. I saw Alex Becker leave. I saw Sam Ovens leave. I then also did 40 interviews with people who sold their companies from 40 million to 4 billion. That cost me a lot of fucking money, by the way. But guess what I saw? I saw the same things over and over again. So all the top dogs had been, usually most of the time, they'd been in this space and they learned these skills. And then they took them into better opportunities where, and when I say better opportunity, just think of it easy, like dumb people can get the same result. And when you build that, then guess what happens? All your word of mouth is positive. The reason this space gets like a lot of negative things is like, if you get a 1, a 3, and a 5, and a 10, the 1, 3, and the 5 are like, oh, he sucks. The 10's like, he's amazing. Yeah, so that's why there's negative word of mouth. But if I just send everyone a pizza, they're like, pizza's great. And that's really what you have to get to eventually is you either have to build something that, like a Facebook or a YouTube or something like that gets everyone a great result, but is also super scalable, or you that's like a tech thing, or it's like hedge funds. Hedge funds are great because if you invest everyone's money the same, everyone gets the same return. True. Or private equity, which you cut out the dumb people. So basically private equity is kind of like, you're basically saying, we're only gonna work with the best businesses, all the dummies, you gotta go. So if you only work with smart people or you only work with the best athletes, how hard would it be to coach? Like a lot of times people will say, oh, he's such a great coach. I'm like, dude, like Phil Jackson, he had Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, and Michael Jordan. I'm like, those are like 3 of the top 10 players of all time. Like, how hard is it to coach a
Yeah.
good player? It's like, oh, just go out there and like shoot the ball. Anyways, that was a little bit of a rant there, but hopefully I answered the question.
That's so smart. I really like it.
Yeah, no worries.
You talk a lot about the team. You know, how can you have a 8 to 10?
Player.
Player, exactly, a player and everything.
Yeah.
What's the maybe number one qualities you see in every A player you have worked with?
Yeah, so I mean, here's how I do it. I'll just walk you through the whole process. So if I'm looking for, let's just say I'm looking for a sales rep, okay?
Yeah, sales.
Sales guys lie all the time too because they're sales guys, right? So they're like, I'm the best sales guy. It's like, I don't know if they're good. So here's what I do. First thing I do is I get 3 calls that I've closed, right? And they're only closed calls. I only want them listening to good looks. 3 calls I've closed and a sales script, okay? Then I do like a type form, like an application. And the application, you're really vetting for experience. Why? Because more experience usually means they're going to be better. So the number one person I'd want would be high ticket experience. Like high ticket sales experience would be number 1. Number 2 would be sales experience, but not related to high ticket. So it might be like door to door or something like that. The third one would be like no experience. Like you don't want them. So I'm looking for people who have high ticket experience. Great. Once I do that, I'll do an interview, make sure they're a fit. So in terms of the qualities, it's just they need to think like you need to think of like why have I been successful, for example. Like I look at that, I'm like, why have I been successful? I tell the truth. I do what I say. I work really hard. I take pride in my work, like stuff like that. So if they don't have those qualities, because there's people who like they care how well they do. Like my brothers are not CEOs, but they give a shit, dude. Like when they work, they're killing it themselves. Like they're working really hard. Yeah. So it's just people who like, do they value those things? It's just part of who I am. I think it's important to do your best. I think it's important to tell the truth. I think it's important to have tough conversations. Like some people just don't. They're like, yeah, I just want to get a paycheck. I just want to spend time with my family. I'm not saying they're a bad person for that. I'm just saying for my business, I want a person who eats, sleeps, and drinks business and never does anything besides work, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I need people who think kind of similar to the way I think. So once that's done, then you like people do interviews and then they hire. I think that's a mistake. What I do is like I do the interview, decide like could this person be on the team? Okay, no, done. If I say yes, I go cool. So what we're gonna do? I'm gonna give you these 3 calls and the script. Listen to it. When you're ready for a call, I'll give it to you. No training. So if I let him take a call and he records it, think about, I can already see how good he is. Yeah. So if he's like, if he can follow the script and he has good tonality and he fights at the end, I don't care if he closes or not. I just want to see like, does he have what it takes? Sure. If the guy gets on the call and he's like super weird and he makes weird jokes and the call goes 15 minutes and he hangs up, it's like, it's not even worth training. So that the biggest thing I've done as I got further in my career is I can already see how good they are. So I'm not wasting time.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
And there's, you know what most people do? They do a application, they do an interview, and then they hire them.
Yeah, and then train them for weeks.
And then 3 months later, they freaking are like, this guy sucks. I'm like, dude, I could have told you that the first day. Yeah. So I guess the best way to hire people is like hire them before, put them on a trial. Yeah, try them out. Hey, can you do me a sample, like a graphic designer? Do me a sample piece. If it's a media buyer, give them something to do. Like, be like, hey, show me how you would set up. We have a client who has this offer for this price point. What campaign would you do? What's the copy? Like, walk me through it. Yeah, true. You're paying for this. You're not paying for their fingers. You're paying for their brain, right?
Yeah, and the thing I would like to add is there is a lot of CEOs that come to us and say, I want the best sales rep and everything. But before I say, are you the best company, you know, because there are a lot of people who want leaders, who want A player, but they're not.
Yeah, it's like guys who are like, I want a 10 out of 10 girlfriend, and they're a 3.
Exactly.
It's like, become who you want to attract.
First, that's the first job. You had to do it. Yeah. And that's the first job you did, you know. Yeah. Like you put yourself in bad position and everything to succeed.
I was talking to someone off this camera, and they're like, how did you attract the girlfriend you have? I think my girlfriend's like a 10 out of 10 out of 10. Like, I think she has everything on the table. I was like, I mean, look at my life. I was like, I had to become a guy. I mean, in a good, like, she has a lot of optionality, meaning there's a lot of guys who want to date her type deal. So it's like, how are you able to pull that off? It's like, I had to become a guy that she'd want to date. It's the same thing with what you're saying. It's like, I want the best closer. It's like, you're not even a good business owner. Yeah. You're terrible. Like, you can't even probably pay them. You can't even probably manage them. Like, that part's always been weird to me, right? Yeah. So I agree with you. It's like, and it's annoying when people say that, right? Like,
a lot of people say that.
Can you even pay them? Oh, I get no calls. All right, yeah, great, dude. They'll definitely want to work for you.
Go work for
like, end of the day, people are always going to do what's in their best self-interest. So it's like, it's not about like tricking people, whatever. It's like, how is this opportunity going to be what's best for them? And if you can't make it what's best for them, they're not going to work with you. It's really that simple.
Completely. Yeah. Thank you so much. For finish, maybe just one last question. If all you've ever shared in your life was deleted like that, and you could give just one last piece of advice to anyone listening, what will it be?
Dude, that's a great question. I always go back to the same thing. It's kind of boring, but it changed my life. So at 22, like I remember we talked about, like, I can't afford help. You know, I just got to try it on my own. And in 3 years, I made $2,000. So, I mean, I was making about $50 a month. It was really impressive. Then I hired a coach, and then I did 141 million the next 8 years. I'm not saying people are going to get that, but if you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you don't know how to get there, you have to pay someone for help. And the only reason I'm so adamant about that is, like, okay, let's say I quit and I become an engineer. Okay, so 8 years as an engineer is 800,000 USD. Okay, 141 million minus 800,000 is 140 point, what is that? $0.2 million. I would have made 140 million, $0.2 less.
Wow, that's a lot.
But guess what people do? They make that decision.
Yeah.
And then they never know what life they could have had. I think about that every day. I literally think, I'm like, if you had made that decision, your life would be completely different. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't be in this podcast studio. I wouldn't have met my girlfriend. Like, completely different.
Yeah.
So I guess to summarize what I'm saying is, like, if you don't know what you're doing, you're in good company. Everyone else on earth was in the same position as you. Pay for fucking help and figure it out. Be an adult, because, dude, it's like, you can have whatever you want, but you got to pay the price. And a lot of people, they don't want to pay the price, or they think there's an easier way out. There's not. It's like, there just isn't. Because if someone is good enough to help you, guess what? They're busy. They're not just going to help you out of the goodness of their heart.
Yeah.
You know how many people shoot me a DM about, can you give me money? Can you give me? It's like, I'm busy, bro.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I'm not, and I'm not going to, because, like, people like me want to help people who want to help themselves. So, like, if you came to me and said, hey, dude, I've watched all your videos, I paid for these courses, like, I'm literally homeless right now, like, I'll do any, like, I'm gonna be way more advantageous or willing to help you than someone's like, yeah, I haven't really done anything, and, like, I just want a handout, can you help me? It's like, no, because you won't even help yourself. So anyway, so that was a little bit of a long tirade, but I just really want people to know, it's like, if you're not where you want to be, you can get to where you want to be, but you gotta, like, go pay someone who's been where you are.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work the first time, pay the next person. It took me a while, right? It's like a relationship. If you date a girl and she breaks your heart, you're not gonna date guys. Like, you'll be all right. Put some dirt on it and date another girl.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. So it's super basic, but I mean, it's like you, bro. You didn't make money for 4 years, and now you stuck with it. Look where you are. I'm just like such a believer. If you don't quit, you can't lose.
Yeah, completely.
So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Dude, you're
Tanner,
the man.
It was
Proud of
very
you.
amazing.
Pleasure to meet you, bro.